All right, so let's talk about what you might want to carry. We have something that we call the 10 essentials, right? The 10 essentials is basically things that you want to consider bringing with you anytime you go outside. Unless you're going for like a hike or a walk around a really well-known urban path, I like to have these things on hand just in case there's any possibility of getting lost or getting off grid, all right? So you're gonna wanna have navigation, you're gonna wanna have a headlamp, you're gonna wanna have sun protection, some kind of a first aid kit for yourself or maybe for multiple people. You're gonna wanna have a knife, you're gonna wanna have a way to start fire, and you're gonna wanna have shelter, extra food, extra water, and extra clothes, all right? So let's break each one of those down. For navigation, it's useful to have a map of the area that you're going, all right? Paper hard copy maps are kind of hard to come by these days, but what you can do is if you're using the All Trails application, you can pre-plan your route, download the map, you can print the map out and also download it to your phone, which I think is super useful. That way if you go outside of cell reception, you still have the map on your phone and it still tracks you. That's what's really cool. A compass and map are only going to be useful if you know how to use them. A compass is only useful if you got a map to partner it with, right? So I think the best thing to have on hand is going to be a GPS device. Again, I love the All Trails app because it tracks you even when you're off of cell reception and data reception. But then also from All Trails, you can print out a hard copy map just in case you want to have that on hand. Some people like to use altimeter watches, and some people like to use personal locator beacons, which are these little things that basically track you if you're in an emergency situation. If you can afford it, that might be good to have, but I definitely like having the application on the phone and then also having an extra backup battery or charger. All right, we'll go through an instructional video on how to use the All Trails app, but I think that's really useful to have, right? So if you have that All Trails app, I'm telling you, if you get off grid for whatever reason, that thing will get you back on, no problem. Something also very useful to have is going to be a headlamp with extra batteries, because for whatever reason, you never know when your batteries are going to go kaput. All right, these headlamps are super light, you can carry them everywhere. And I'm telling you, man, if you're out in a situation, the sun goes down, you're in a dark situation, you're going to be so thankful that you had that headlamp. We always recommend having a headlamp that has the option to turn to red light so you're not disrupting circadian rhythms in the evening, all right? Sun protection. So I think people really underestimate sun protection because sometimes you get outside, you think it's going to be a couple hours or a few hours, and your arms start to burn or your face starts to burn. So to always make sure to have a long sleeve shirt available. Depending on your situation, long sleeve pants. Long sleeve shirt, by the way, like I carry one everywhere in my backpack, super lightweight, kind of UV rated. Pants I don't usually use because I feel like my upper body shields my legs from sun exposure to a degree, but some people that are super sensitive to light would want to have some pants. And then also, just in case, have some sunscreen. We have a really good video and post on recommended sunscreens in our Natural Solutions course. And then also, I always like carrying a hat. I'm bald, I don't have hair, so I have a tendency to get burned on my head, but I think hats in general, because the brims are gonna cover you and shield you from some sun, so that's something really useful to have. Also in the 10 essentials, always recommended that you have a first aid kit. Now there's some really cool pre-put together first aid kits that you can get at REI and on Amazon. I love this one by Adventure Medical. It's for 2 people, it's a single day. You can also add to these med kits some tweezers, some nail clippers, maybe some combat shears, and if you have some personal medications, make sure that you have a day or 2 worth just in case something happens. It's always useful to have a sharp knife. All right, I'll have some recommendations for some starter knives, a folding knife, a fixed blade knife. It doesn't matter because you never know when you might need something like that. And then for fire, I always recommend everyone carry around a Bic lighter because again, you never know. And then it's useful to understand how to create a fire from some flint and some flint starter stuff, you know, like some laundry lint or something like that. So in my backpack, I always have a flint and starter with some laundry lint and then a couple of these little rolled up pine balls. And then shelter. Shelter can mean having an emergency poncho. Shelter can mean having an emergency blanket. And then I also like carrying around this new thing that I have. It's called a emergency bivy, which basically encapsulates your entire body. It's waterproof, it's super warm, because again, you never know. If you're stuck outside and it's really cold and it starts to get cold overnight, you'll be very thankful that you had something like this. Also carrying extra food. I would recommend having a day's worth, all right? My favorite thing to carry, super lightweight, is gonna be Epic meat bars or any kind of meat bar like the Chomp sticks. or beef jerky. You can do some dried fruit, some dried starch. And then I'm a big fan of calorically dense foods, so things like honey and ghee and some kind of fat would be very useful to have with you. Again, you only need about a day's worth. Always making sure that you're carrying water. All right, so maybe a filter so that you can drink out of a stream or something like that. But at a minimum, you're looking at about a half a liter or 34 ounces of water per hour of activity. So if you're going on a 3-hour hike, you're looking at about 100 ounces, all right? And that's to be safe and properly hydrated. As a bonus, you could consider getting something that allows you to filter water out of a stream or something, but that's for emergency situations. Also part of the 10 essentials, making sure that you have extra clothes depending on the situation and the weather possibilities. I always carry a beanie no matter what. And then depending on what the weather might look like, if I'm going on a day hike and it's no chance of rain whatsoever, I usually don't bring my rain jacket, but I'm always prepared to bring it just in case. And then sometimes I'm going to bring some pants if it's going to be cold weather. All right. Now, outside of that 10 essentials, personally, these are some things I'd recommend adding. All right. So mosquito repellent, for whatever reason, I just can't stand mosquitoes. And if I'm in a situation where there's a lot of mosquitoes, I'm gonna have a miserable experience. So I always make sure that I plan on mosquito protection depending on where I am. When I'm here in Vegas, like there's hardly any mosquitoes. Even at Charleston, there's hardly any mosquitoes. But if I go somewhere else where there's a lot of humidity and potential for mosquitoes, I'm gonna bring some repellent. We have a really good post, again, in our Natural Solutions course about what kind of mosquito repellent to bring, which ones are very effective and at the same time relatively safe. My 12th of the 10 essentials is going to be extra water for dogs and a doggy bowl. And if you can, train your dog to bring its own water or carry its own water, because water gets to be pretty heavy. All right. So those are the 10 essentials plus a couple other bonus things. All links and resources are located in the post associated with this video. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.